Bonjour, hi, Facebook Live. This is Mike George coming at you live from Columbus, Ohio, here at the lovely AWOL. Ah, well, it is the 5th of May, 2024, otherwise known as Cinco de Mayo, as well as the day after, well, May the 4th be with you. Of course, it's already day past that, so whatever forces and forces that were in play. Well, I hope you made the most of it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because now it is Sunday. It is the day to repent and to confess all of the sins of the fourth being with you. So, anyways, as you can see, it's kind of been a while since I've done a proper Facebook update. But yeah, let's see where we want to start here. I've realized, I've been kind of doing some reviews of some of my previous work. I've been kind of going through and trying to I guess, kind of craft something, something coherent, I guess you could say, from the various threads of previous Facebook Live videos that I've done for you guys, including the past year or so, while I was on this sort of long-winded journey back to Ohio from Louisiana, as well as some of the really old stuff. I mean, by now since 2024. I think I started doing Facebook Live updates, I don't want to say on a regular basis, but I'll say that it sort of became a thing. I would say maybe around 2017, and that kind of started when I was on the road with Matt Gutierrez, which, if for some of you veterans of the show might recall, that was my truck driving ex, with which I got to travel 25,000 miles together for 13 states in the Western United States together. So that was kind of, from what I remember, that's kind of where the whole kind of thing started from. And since then, it's kind of, I guess you could say, it's kind of meandered, kind of in and out of various adventures in my life, including some professional, I guess, endeavors, as well as some kind of side projects, side hustles. Of course, Crimson Rouge, some of the projects we've been doing there. So I've been trying to strike a balance here between these broadcasts being kind of off the cuff and sort of chill and spontaneous and not too, kind of no frills, but also have a sense of, like, I guess, some sort of clear thread, or some sort of, I guess you could say, cohesion, that kind of ties all of this bullshit together. So I've been kind of working on compiling a lot of the, what I would consider call the greatest hits collection of this Facebook Live bullshit, into a collection that I'm calling Open Mic. And so yeah, I actually I invite you guys to come check it out. It's on the Crimson Rouge website. And I believe if I've done my video production duties correctly here, should be linked on the bottom of the page right now. So I invite you guys to check it out. One of the things I guess I sort of wanted to do is kind of just talk about what I've been up to lately. Uh, as you guys probably gathered by now, I've been in Columbus now. I think it's been now, it's been now since I think August or September that I've been back home, so to speak, here in Ohio. Um, Honestly, it's been a marvelous few months. I mean, I can't really couldn't have asked for, like, a better kind of city to come back to in a way. Columbus has been just I mean, Columbus has been booming. I mean, Columbus itself is growing. It's prospering. It's quite a little It's quite a bright spot in the middle of the Midwest here. And as you know, as many of you guys also might share, pretty much a native Ohioan. I'm a native Ohioan who's had I guess, the privilege of having, kind of traveled a few various spots throughout the U.S. to kind of see what the outside of the fishbowl looks like, as I say commonly. And I think I feel confident in my assessment now when I say that we've got some good shit here, and I think that we often take for granted. I still hear a lot of the gripes from people about wanting to leave Ohio, and that old cliche, that Ohio is not good enough for a lot of for me and yada yada yada. But and mind you, I've probably been there at one point or another. So I think it's natural to sort of want to break out of the pond a little bit and explore the wider seas, if you will. Um, well, and as I said, as somebody who's done that, I would say to a decent degree, at least I'd say 5 or 6 places outside the U.S. I feel like shit. I feel like I can confidently say, like, Columbus, you got some good shit going on, girl, and we should be proud of ourselves here. That's not something I see a lot of. I think it almost seems like it's in fashion to sort of to kind of talk hate, to kind of smack talk Ohio. It's a thing. I get it. I relate to why, but nonetheless, just in the last year or so, I would be remiss if I didn't say that Columbus has been quite good to me, and I'm extremely grateful for that. And in particular, a lot of some key individuals, in Columbus here in my life, have really helped to make it a wonderful kind of if not long-winded sort of return back home. So thank you guys. You know who you are, and if you don't know who you are, then there's a page for that too. If you check out the website, filed under About Us, and actually we have a whole uh, little do some of you guys know, we actually have a whole list of what we call it, the archangels of this organization that have been just damn. I mean, a lot of you guys have been kind of essential to me personally, as far as kind of helping me out, surviving the streets and so forth. But also, like, kind of on a more foundational level, a lot of you guys have been really essential to sort of helping me help me kind of wrap my head around what I want Crimson Rouge to look like in the next few years coming up, and kind of how I'm hoping to sort of take the organization, with your guys' help and support, of course. So, if you go over to summer here, I'll be, at least my plan is here to kind of jumpstart Crimson Rouge. I had, as you might recall, the big reason why the big sort of impetus to me leaving my last engineering job in Louisiana was to kind of have the time, I kind of jokingly refer to it as a sabbatical. But really, sort of the main purpose of this time off, besides just my own sort of mental sanity, has been to really try to build, take this time to build a solid foundation for the organization. It's impossible for me to to sort of do proper justice to my engineering career, especially my last job where I was almost always working 50 hours a week, and getting paid for 40 of them. But it was just impossible for me at that time to try to do both a diligence, the due diligence in my engineering career, but and then also have the time and sort of the I guess the mental capacity to also kind of get Crimson Rouge on its feet. And that's always been kind of a dilemma of mine, I guess, because what seems to what seems to happen, I guess, is when I'm gainfully employed in my engineering work, I have during that stage I have I have lots of money but no time to give to sort of devote to Crimson Rouge, and then times like now where I'm kind of in my sabbatical, it's sort of the inverse. I have lots of time. Well, I guess in theory I should have lots of time, but like hardly any money. And so it seems like I'm always kind of caught in one of those two places, rather than having both, the money and sort of the time and the time to really do a proper job of running the organization. So I think by now, at least I hope, and we shall find out, I guess, soon in the next few months. I think I have found a solution in order to kind of be able to handle both. And of course, as I often have to kind of remind myself, it's not just me that's obviously doing this, running this organization. It's I really want to sort of have more ownership, have more collective ownership in the organization, perhaps from some of you guys. And let's just start with some of the archangels out there, some of you individuals who have donated money to me and to the organization. I'll probably be approaching a lot of them first, to kind of try to gather a sense of interest in first of all, who would like to serve on the board, what we call the admin collective, which is essentially our board of directors for the organization, as well as as well as just to kind of get involved in the organization at a general level, whether that's actually helping, investing your time to helping us put events together, helping us sort of build the organization, or just simply coming to our events and showing up. So, anyways, I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. I mean, I've been kind of going through what I consider to be a sort of a listening tour, and trying to gather, kind of thoughts and feedback on like what where the hole is, so to speak. No pun intended. And where some of the gaps are that we can kind of swoop in and help maybe address. So, anywho, that's my little spiel about Crimson Rouge and some of the updates. Let's get into some specifics, though, shall we? So the linked page here, which takes you to Archangel Labs, which is sort of what I consider to be the incubator of Crimson Rouge. I got a few projects that have been in play there. One of the things I've been really focusing on is building apps. It's kind of become a new hobby of mine to sort of get into the world of programming and get into the world of building simple mobile apps. I figure if Grindr can do it, so can I, right? And so I think there's about 3 of them right now that are kind of what I would consider to be like sort of in the beta testing phase. One of them, I guess one of the ones I'm sort of really proud of is the Street Smart app. And this is sort of, I guess you could say version 2.0 of a previous iteration of it, which was it was a browser-based map, essentially, of all the various free services around Columbus, around the world. Because being an internet-based map platform, I mean, obviously we had the luxury to really put stuff on the map from literally anywhere in the world. So what I'm trying to include on this would be things that are resources and services and amenities, so forth, that are available to anybody out there. And I always kind of say this, whether you're on the streets for a night, coming home from the bar at 4 a.m. after the buses close, or you're on the streets for months, perhaps, down on your luck and, perhaps, in a sort of financial slash fiscal hole, if you will. So that Street Smart app is available, kind of in it is the version 2.0 at least, which is and I would say the big difference between version 2.0 and the original is that it's a lot more mobile friendly. So I realized that while it's great to have this fancy map of all the various resources around town for people that are perhaps homeless or in the streets and so forth, realistically, nobody, the average homeless person is not carrying around a computer, right? Maybe they'll have access to one in the library, but realistically, the average homeless person, they're gonna be using their mobile device. They're gonna be using their phone, probably on a Wi-Fi, hopping around around various free Wi-Fi networks, which is incidentally one of the sort of resource categories of this app, alongside bathrooms, grocery stores that are EBT friendly. Let's see, just places that people, places that individuals could hang out at without being harassed and so forth. And so, I really I invite you guys to check it out. Furthermore, I really want to try to encourage some participation in the app. I might even, so in that vein, I was thinking about doing maybe a contest or something and having a little prize for whoever contributes the most, the most individual contributions to this map. So I personally, I love maps. I love scavenger hunts. I think of this as a big scavenger hunt, and so again, I really, I would love to kind of get some input into this map. Being a crowdsourced map, it's only as good as the crowd that participates. So if nobody participates, then it's pretty much just a fancy pile of shit, really. So let's help make it not a fancy pile of shit, shall we? Let's put some meat on the bones and really, let's make this thing great, guys. Otherwise, sort of another, I guess, this could be an announcement of sorts. One, I would say my next endeavor, as far as designing mobile apps and so forth, is I really want to try to create something. I'm really so one of the sort of technologies, I guess you will, that I'm really fascinated by and that I love sort of geeking out on. That I think is, I don't know, I guess I hesitate to see whether it's kind of catching steam on a broader level, is augmented reality, AR. And that's just basically a fancy way of kind of referring to sort of the Pokemon Go style of apps and games and so forth, that basically using your phone and your camera on your phone, you got it superimposes imagery on top of your camera view, that sort of creates a quasi virtual environment for folks. And sorry, that was a mouthful. All that to say, basically to try to, yeah, basically just superimposing graphics and data and information and so forth on top of the normal camera view that you would get looking out of the lens of your camera. And so one kind of idea that I have for this is, I haven't thought of a kitschy name for it yet, but I want to try to create something that connects the present with the past, with regards to location, with regards to place. I get, one sort of metaphor that I often consider, that I often use this to describe this would be for some of you guys who grew up playing The Legend of Zelda, in particular, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past and or Ocarina of Time. You might recall that a lot of that storyline in the game is traversing between past and present, within a given geographic area, within a given location. And so I want to try to take that concept. I want to try to create something that allows the user to look back on what a particular spot looked like in the past, perhaps 20, 30, 40 years ago. I often think of Steubenville, Ohio, my hometown, and there's a lot of nostalgia in these small towns, as to the glory days of the downtown. Back in the 1940s or the 1960s, 70s, and so forth, when for example, Steubenville, back when we had a bustling economy, back when downtown was cool, back when downtown was teeming with shops, shoppers, um, actually just general activity. I mean, back when downtown was the place to be. Um, and I mean, shoot, even nowadays, when you drive through some of these towns, and especially in Ohio, I mean, hell, you can see. I mean, you can see artifacts and relics of the days of the glorious past. Um, and I would love to create this app in order to really highlight those things. So, for instance, you could, with your phone, you could go. Here's an example. Actually, this is an example that is kind of near and dear to me personally. But in Columbus here, as you guys know, we do not presently have a train station. And in fact, the site of the former Union Station of Columbus is now occupied by the convention center. And when you go to the convention center, and you wouldn't know it unless you actually kind of had a little bit of a heads up about the fact that the trains, about this being the former train station. But you can see, just looking at a satellite view of the convention center, you can kind of see how even the roof line of the convention center is sort of shaped and fashioned along the contours of what used to be the platforms, the boarding platforms of the then Union Station. And so, for this example here, I would love to kind of, within the, within the capabilities of this app, I would love to be able to superimpose like images and so forth to kind of recreate what Union Station used to look like back then. To kind of give the user a sort of a virtual tour, the ability to virtually tour what was then the Union Station. What it might have looked like. Where some of the where some of the the significant sites and so forth. Where the walls used to be, where the platform used to be, where the grand concourse used to be of this facility. I would love to kind of create this app to sort of rebuild in a virtual sense what that station used to look like. And shit, if we can't, I figure if we can't rebuild the actual station itself, the next best thing is to kind of build a virtual version of it. And through that portrayal of, of the historical, of the history of the place, use that to really, to really gather momentum and support behind building another train station. Um, and so there is a little bit of a political, I guess a political and or commercial aspect to this. I mean, really to really make the community aware of what the city used to look like. I mean, Columbus is undergoing just rapid and breakneck change. I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling to kind of just behold everything going on in Columbus. I mean, even as I sort of harked on in previous broadcasts, like in just a period between when I lived here last in 2017 and now 2024, and it's a period of 6 or 7 years. I mean, goddamn. I mean, Columbus has changed to an almost unrecognizable degree, and so I think that we really need to kind of pay homage to the past and to sort of archive and sort of really document uh, in a very compelling way, in a sort of immersive way, what this area used to look like and kind of how it's evolved. And that that could be the good, bad, and the ugly. I mean, I could include. I mean, when I say when I think of the negative aspects of development, I think often of the highways that sort of when they built some of the highways in the 60s and 70s and demolished entire neighborhoods, in particular a lot of black neighborhoods, a lot of lower income, a lot of minority neighborhoods. There it's you can look at almost any city in the United States and see an example of where a a formerly prosperous black neighborhood was just completely destroyed to build a fucking highway. And that to me it kind of, I mean, shit. If there's a way to really bring that story to life in a way that that sort of engages people, and in a fun way, in a fun and sort of interactive way, then fuck it, we're gonna do it. Why not? I think that's I'm really excited about that concept of be able to kind of bring back to life what these various communities used to look like. And yeah, that's kind of been my latest sort of, I guess, little geeking out project. So yeah, I kind of wanted to announce that a little bit, kind of. And if you guys have any ideas or thoughts or hell, if you want to help out on the project, I would, whether financially or just kind of get involved. And even if you don't know how to code or, or if you want to learn how to code, then hit me up. That's kind of the whole point of Archangel Labs, really, is to kind of, as opposed, in addition to being a kind of an incubation hub for some of these projects and stuff, and sort of their, the kind of the things that we're inventing within, within the organization. I really want to use that also to be a teaching tool to kind of give folks the opportunity to learn code through, learn by doing, essentially. So I invite you guys to check out Archangel Labs. That is what's linked at the bottom. Even better, if you guys really are gung-ho about the whole initiative and you would love to help, we need money. I need money. So, that would be fantastic. As I always pitch during these little Facebook Lives. So, yeah, come check it out. It's transverse.org/labs for Archangel Labs. And some of the other apps in there, I made, there was a Street Smart one. There was a smoke tracker tool that I use personally to kind of log every single cigarette or blunt that I smoke, just to kind of have a little journal of how often I how often I kill my lungs, and just it's my small way of keeping myself accountable. So, anyways, I've managed to rant on here for almost a half hour, so that seems like a good place to sort of wrap it up. And yeah, I haven't even been talking and talking. I haven't even checked what comments there are, if any. None. Ah, you guys are easy as hell to impress here. So I'm gonna take this opportunity to sign off and get back to the real world here of, in particular of AWOL. And so, yeah, I hope you guys are, happy Cinco de Mayo. Uh, May the 4th be with you, or May the 4th been with you yesterday. Um, and until we meet again, Facebook lands, take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Toodaloo.